welcome back. Welcome back to the recording of Land and Sea. Yeah, we're on chapter 40. There's 3 left. Oh wow, this is amazing. Chapter 40. Emily, wake up, Henry. We're back in Storybrooke. Emma called softly from above. I wrapped my arms under Henry's limp body and slowly carried him upstairs. I shook him a little, and he jolted awake. Emily, where are we? Henry asked. You're home, Henry. Can't you walk? People are waiting for you, I said into his ear over the cheering crowd. Whoa, that is a lot of people, Henry said in shock. Don't you remember living here? Or did Peter brainwash you? I asked. Henry seemed a little bit odd today. No, I'm fine, just a little shocked after what happened, Henry said, and he walked out onto the cement roads. I stayed behind, mostly because I had helped Peter with taking Henry's heart. All right, Emily, you are in charge of Henry for the rest of the day. I trust you to make the right choices, Regina said, walking up to me. Aren't you going to arrest me, Swan? I thought I committed a crime, I asked. Emma had said nothing throughout Regina's whole sentence, which was shocking. No, Regina's right. You need to learn from your mistakes, Emma said. Whatever, I muttered under my breath, and walked up to Henry. Hey, Emily, what are you doing? Henry asked. I have been appointed your official babysitter for the day. Yay, I said sarcastically. Henry grinned like Peter, which made me tear up. Emily, don't cry. Come on, let's get some hot cocoa, Henry said, and he led me to Granny's. He ordered 2 hot cocos with cinnamon. It was our little touch to hot chocolate. Thank you, little buddy, I said, sipping from my mug. He grinned the same grin, and I couldn't stand it. Henry, stop that right now. Okay, I'll stop. Emily, I have a secret to tell you, Henry whispered. Okay, fire away, I whispered back. I am Peter Pan. Wait, what? How is that even possible? I switched our bodies so that I could try and live again. You wouldn't want me to be trapped in Pandora's box, now would you? For a point. But what about the real Henry? He'll be just fine. Now, how are you doing? Not too good. I feel like barking everywhere. Am I supposed to? Don't know. Probably we should get you to a doctor. Fair point. Let's go, I said. We downed our mugs and left the building. Just telling you guys now, this part of the book is the part of the book that kind of gets a little bit disgusting and adultish. So if you can't stand that, then get away from this video right now. Okay? Goodbye. Hello, Emily, Henry. What can I do for you? Dr. Walsh asked when we entered the building. I'm pregnant and I need to get checked out, I said in a serious tone of voice. My eyes flashed icily, and Dr. Walsh led me to a room. So, who's the lucky father? Dr. Walsh asked. Someone you don't know, but you will know soon, I said. Chapter 41. All right, Emily. Everything seems to be fine. You might feel slight pains now and again, but it's all normal, Dr. Walsh said. Thank goodness that's finally over, Peter thought. Thank you. Now come on, Henry. It's time to go, Emily said. They locked hands and walked out. He was so annoying, Peter said. He heaved a sigh of relief as they turned the corner. They both laughed a little, and then Emily had to stop to vomit for a second. Maybe we should go back to the Charming's house. I think I may need some rest, Emily said. She had a queasy look on her face, and they walked back to the house. Mom, Emily isn't feeling so good, Peter called into the house. Oh, you poor thing. Let's get you into bed, Snow said, coming down the stairs. Please, I really don't feel good. I threw up at least 5 times on the way here, Emily said, rubbing her belly. Come along. We have some things that might help. Henry, can you grab the Tylenol? Snow asked, and she gently helped Emily up the staircase. Peter searched the house until he finally found it. Found it! Peter gasped out as he ran up the staircase. He handed it to Snow, and she shooed him out of the room. Yay! I get to be bored. Might as well talk to Felix. Peter said, and thought to himself, and he walked out of the house, looking for the jailhouse. Hey, Henry, what do you want? Felix asked from the nearest cell. He winked at Peter, who winked back. I want you to get out of here. You did realize that the door was never locked, didn't you? Thanks, and I did notice. Where are we going? Felix asked, walking out of the cell. Just follow me, Peter said, and he stalked out of the building. They walked through the woods until they came up to an old well. Why are we here? If you would keep your mouth shut, then I would tell you, Peter shouted. Felix flinched a little. Sorry, Felix muttered. Peter glared at him, then continued on. I brought you here because this is where we will set the curse in motion. But like all curses in magic, it comes with a price. For me, this time today, that is you, Peter said, and he pulled out Felix's heart. Pan, why would you do this? Felix gasped out in pain. It's what needs to be done, Peter said. He held the heart over the well and squeezed. The flakes of ashes slipped between his fingers, and Felix collapsed. I'm sorry. Peter turned and walked away, tears welling up in his eyes. He ran to the charming's house as fast as he could. He didn't care if anybody saw him. He just ran. He finally reached the house and locked himself in the bathroom. He cried for minutes, maybe even hours. He couldn't tell. He just remembered waking up to see Charming shaking his shoulders violently. Henry, wake up! Emily's had 2 girls, Charming said. Peter shot up and ran to Emily's room. She lay in her bed with 2 baby girls in her arms. Emily, they're beautiful, Peter said, walking slowly up to her. They are, aren't they? What should I name them? Emily asked. Which one is older? I think I might have a name, Peter said. Emily showed him the older one, a brunette with electric green eyes. She was indeed beautiful. Well, your idea? Emily asked expectantly. Celestia. And the other Luna. She has her father's eyes, you know, Peter said, admiring the child in his arms. Those are beautiful names, Henry. Actually, those are the same names Peter and I came up with. Did you snoop through my stuff while you were taking care of Peter back on Neverland? Emily asked. She knew the truth, but she wanted to make it seem like that was what happened. Maybe. Can I see the other? Luna. Emily passed over the other child, and they switched children. This one, Luna, had icy blue eyes and dirty blonde hair. Do you like them? Not that it matters, really. Emily quickly corrected herself. I love them, Emily, Peter said. He handed Luna back to her, and he backed up. Emily, if you need anything, call for Henry. We'll be right back. Emma needs our help, Snow said. She and Charming left the room in a hurry. Emily, I can't believe this. They're just so beautiful. Also, I set the curse in motion. It should be here in about an hour or so, Peter said. Okay, but Peter, there's something I need you to do for me. What's that? It's getting late, and I want to go for a walk before bed. So, I think that I should take a nice walk through the forest to clear my mind up a bit. But Emily, so many people might want you dead. Are you sure this is safe? Oh, I'm not the one who will be doing the walking. You are. We're going to switch so that you can find stuff out. Do you think that you could handle that? I guess. Do you want me to do the switching? Yes, please. Peter grabbed Emily's hand and felt the switch happen almost immediately. Man, this does not feel right, Peter said. He glanced down at himself and remembered whose body he was in. Yeah, I can imagine. Come now, come on. I think it's time for you to walk, Emily said from Henry's body. It was strange to see her smaller than him again. All right, I'll see you later, Peter said, and he walked out of the house. See, that wasn't so hard. Now was it? I asked myself. I kept myself busy by taking care of Celestia and Luna. I could tell that they recognized me even when I was Henry. I couldn't help but cuddle up with them for a bit, but I was just getting ready for the inevitable. Henry was out of Pandora's box, and they were going to switch the bodies back. That was why I had sent Peter out for a walk in my body, not because I wanted him to get fresh air. I didn't want Peter to wake up as himself and kill everyone because of it. I had to do this myself. When I was done taking care of the girls, I sat down in bed and shut my eyes. I tried to sleep, but couldn't keep my eyes closed for more than 5 seconds. I tried to read, but I couldn't feel the urge to discover a new and magical land. So I just sat there and stared at the wall. Finally, about half an hour after Peter had left, I began to feel a little drowsy. I knew that this had something to do with the switch, so I just let it happen. There was darkness for a couple of seconds. Then I blinked my eyes open. I was in the cot at Mr. Gold's pawnshop, and Mr. Gold stood near me. I summoned up all of my courage and acted like how the old Peter was. "Well, hello there, lad. Did you really think you could that I would fall for this?" I asked. He had put a magic sealing bracelet on my wrist, and I recognized it. The one Peter had made a few years ago. I ripped it off, not noticing the red mark it left on my skin. "I made this thing, and you thought that it could contain me? Ha! But how is this possible? The wearer is not supposed to be able to take it off," Gold said, scrambling to his feet. "Well, I made it so that I could take it off, but you, on the other hand, can't." I took the thing and locked it onto Gold's wrist. He twisted it and turned it, but couldn't get the wretched thing off. "What are you going to do?" Gold asked. My response was a snort and a kick to the chest. "You'll see soon enough," I said, and I teleported out of the shop. Chapter 42. There were people talking in Town Square. Those people were Emma, Hook, Snow, Henry, Regina, Charming, Belle, and Balefire. I walked swiftly around the corner, and before anyone could say a word, I had them frozen in place. Well, what a surprise to see you all here. Except for the curse, I would expect." "No?" "Well, you'll thank me later. And might I say, I do thank you for helping Emily with our little girls. I don't know what we could have done without you, Snow," I said, laughing maniacally. "Oh, but that's right. You still need to have part of your mind with you, so that you remember your grandchildren, Hook. Emily and I will need you to remember a few things, but otherwise you'll forget everything. Does that sound all right? Now, on to my grandson. How are you doing, Balefire? A little shocked, hmm? Well, I can assure you, you are in more danger than the rest. Should I kill you first, or the girl?" "You'll be killing neither of them, thank you very much." I whipped around. There, standing behind me, was Gold. He had the cuff still on his wrist, but there was blood circling it. I grinned a little, smelling the metallic scent. "What are you doing here?" "Trying to protect your loved ones." "Ha! That is exactly what I am doing. You see, you may not have a shadow, but you're forgetting something." "And what, exactly, is that?" "I had mine go away with something very precious in mind, something I thought that I would never need. It seems that if this family is going to have a happy ending, it's just going to have to be without me." "Belle, hey, I'm sorry," Gold said. He threw his hand into the air, and I heard the shriek of a shadow coming from behind me. It had the Dark One's dagger in hand. It dropped it into Gold's outstretched hand, then went to its owner's body. Gold wrapped his arms around me, and I tried to get out, but I couldn't move. "Rumple, we could start over. All you have to do is let this curse act. We could have a happy ending," I said, gasping for breath. Gold shoved the dagger through my chest, causing me to yell out in pain. "You see, I'm a villain, and villains don't get happy endings," Gold said. He shoved the dagger in further, and there was a flash of gold light. Then everything went completely black. Peter ran towards the sound of his real shout. He could feel himself switching back to normal. Something had happened to Emily, and it was not good. Peter rounded the corner of the street and to Town Square. There, lying on the ground, was Emily. Dead. Peter ran faster, tears streaking down his face. This couldn't have happened. No one would kill Emily, Peter thought to himself. Then he saw the other body that was lying on the ground. "Rumple!" Peter shouted, not able to contain himself. Hook was kneeling on the ground near Emily, silently weeping. Belle and Balefire were sitting near Rumple, tears streaming down their faces. "Emma, look! It's the real Pan!" someone yelled from one of the stores. Peter glanced around and saw people with sad and angry looks on their faces. "Stay away from them!" Peter shouted at the crowd. He threw everyone who was standing too close to Emily and Rumple off to the sides with his magic. He made a protection spell around them and held them close, weeping. "No, no, 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 no! Why did they both have to die?" "Pan, put down the spell!" Balefire called from the other side of the invisible wall. Peter let all of his magic go, not caring what it would mean for him. The curse, the protection spell, everything that was magically Peter's was gone, except for Celestia and Luna, whom he teleported to his side. Pan, who are those two? Henry asked from the side. He walked slowly up to Peter, who didn't care if someone came up to him to try and kill him. My daughters, Celestia and Luna. Henry, take care of them. I don't deserve them, Peter said, shoving the two girls towards Henry. Wait, where are you going? You can't just abandon your daughters, Henry called. Peter was lifting off into the air, and he wasn't slowing down. But I am. I have to. I'll be back for them in about 12 years, so get them ready, Peter said, and he disappeared into the afternoon air. Chapter 43. Where did he go? Emma asked, walking up to Henry. I have no clue, but look what he gave me, Henry said. Emma glanced down at the two little girls and gasped out a small sob. What kind of person just leaves his two daughters alone after their mother dies? Snow asked, tears dropping onto the ground from her cheeks. Apparently Pan does. What should we do with them? Charming asked, holding Snow close in his arms. I say that I get to keep one. Belle can have the other, Regina said, walking up to the small group. Wait, we probably shouldn't separate them. Pan said that he was going to come back, and I know for a fact that he will, Henry said. That is true. How about I keep them? They are my grandchildren, after all, Hook said. What kind of father would you be like? You abandon your daughter in a jungle with a demon boy. Emma shot at Hook, who winced slightly at the comment. I say that they belong to nobody. We should pass them around, teaching them different skills that they should know, Bellfire said. Then they won't have anybody to love them. How about I keep them as my sisters, and when Pan comes back for them, they'll be his, Henry said. Some people nodded their heads in agreement, others not. As good as an ideal as that is, we can't just have them be taken care of by anybody. We need an actually good mother, someone who knows what a child can be like. And no, Regina, that doesn't mean you, Belle said. Many people agreed to that statement, and so it was decided that Celestia and Luna would be raised by Snow and Charming, although they lacked a bit of experience. Regina was one of the 10 to disagree, saying that they would not be prepared for what could possibly happen, but it was declared that the two sisters of Neverland would be raised in Storybrooke to live happily ever after. The end of Book 1, Land and Sea. So, I hope you guys enjoyed my book. It took me 16 days to do, and remember that I'm 11 years old. I'm 11 years old, and I did this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys all later with some just talking for a while and removal of the sticky note. So yeah, bye.